Hey, this is Soldier7 here reporting for Right Wing Federation, and this video is about China's military purge, or in this case, the purge of the People's Liberation Army. Now, as you know, recently, Xi Jinping, for the last few months, if not the last few years or so, has been committing purges within both the People's Liberation Army and high officials within the Communist Party. Now, the thing is, I think I'm just going to talk about the military purge for right now, or in this case, the military wing of the Communist Party of China is having a purge by Xi Jinping, or at least that's what it seems like. And the question is why is he doing it at a time like this, given with the United States having success with capturing Maduro in Venezuela? And from what it looks like at this time, although some people may say it'd be too early to comment or too late to comment, but the destruction that's occurring by the U.S. Navy in Iran, which I haven't really talked a whole lot about, but maybe I'll get to it eventually, get my whole opinion about it. But yeah. You figured, why would he want to purge people within his military? Is it because they don't agree with him? Because some rumor says that some of the people that he's purged within the People's Liberation Army are critical of his idea of the invasion of Taiwan, which he has said by 2027, Taiwan will be taken. I guess not all the officers agree with that. Now, whether if the communists in Beijing are going to try to take Taiwan next year or not, I don't know. But that is a deadline that they are giving. The only question is will it occur? I don't know. At this point, it still doesn't seem possible, but given that it's the People's Liberation Army, aka the military wing of the Communist Party of China, not the official military of China, still has larger numbers and everything, so you never know. It's even at this time, if it seems like a long shot, I would say let's not ignore it. But yeah, and I'll also get to, could this be a repeating of history if the communists in Beijing were to invade Taiwan? Because if you remember, something similar occurred during the Winter War of 1939, whereas the Soviet Union invaded Finland. And military-wise, it didn't turn out very well. If anyone who knows the history knows when the Red Army invaded Finland in 1939 and so forth, it didn't really turn out very well. Even though some of them will like to say it's a victory because they got some of Finland's territory, they got some parts of Finland, which Finland signed a treaty to give it up. But yeah, military-wise, it didn't turn out very well because the casualty rate was so high, and they had much larger numbers. It was like, wow. But before doing that, if I'm not mistaken, Joseph Stalin purged some of his Red Army officials, some of the high-ranking Red Army officials or officers, whatever you want to call them, before he did that. So if the People's Liberation Army were to invade Taiwan sometime next year, or Xi Jinping decides to, or whenever Xi Jinping decides he wants to try to invade Taiwan, if he does, I'm not saying he will, but if he does, could we be seeing history repeat itself where, let's say he does, and he sends the People's Liberation Army, that includes the ground forces, the air forces, the naval forces and whatever, because technically that's all part of the People's Liberation Army, including the People's Armed Police. That's the that's like the supposed to be law enforcement for all of China, when really it's just working as law enforcement for the Communist Party, just like the People's Liberation Army is just the military wing for the Communist Party of China. None of that is the official military or law enforcement for China. And I'm not trying to get off topic, but thinking about it and looking at some articles, a part of you wonder is, if that were to occur, could it be like a repeat of history? If Xi Jinping is to invade Taiwan, if he ever decides to, could it be repeating the history of the Winter War, which is what we call it, but not, I don't know so much politically, but militarily, would it be that way? Because even though Taiwan is a much smaller, is a small island compared to all of China, but they have been preparing. They do prepare every year for a possible invasion, and they do get support from the United States and so forth and other countries militarily, like weapons and stuff. So who knows? But either way, a part of me just thought about that and wonder if this could be a repeating history. If it was to occur, now, will there be a communist invasion of Taiwan in 2027? I don't know. Hopefully not. I mean, a lot of the times they do, the communists in Beijing and Xi Jinping, they usually pick a date where they say they're going to invade Taiwan, or by this year Taiwan's going to be part of China and so forth, whatever they go for. And usually it turns out not to be true, because the year goes by and it's like, oh, Taiwan's still there, still doing its thing, still being its own country, which it should be recognized as its own country. But yeah, I just felt like talking about that for a bit, because I mean, I know the purges have gone on for quite a while. I think I may even spoke about them in previous videos, but the purges that are occurring now got me kind of thinking, could this be a potential repeated history if there ever is an invasion of Taiwan, because of the purges within the People's Liberation Army and the talk of the communists in Beijing wanting to take Taiwan? If so, would it be a repeat of history, at least military-wise, where they invade, but instead of a quick grab, it ends up in a military disaster for them, where they end up with large casualties and so forth, and and who knows, maybe some civilians in Taiwan could get their hands on firearms, even though owning a gun in Taiwan is legal, but it's very strict. But could the people of Taiwan could even get their hands on weapons and use guerrilla warfare and form anti-communist guerrilla movements against the People's Liberation Army if the military is not always able to be there or whatnot? Who knows? I mean, you even got certain indigenous people within Taiwan, some hunting groups who technically already have guns, even though they're homemade and so forth, and there's certain laws about them having manufactured weapons from somewhere else. I don't know the whole laws, but I know that there are rights and so forth. But yeah, they got firearms even though they're homemade, but hey, I'm just saying, just throwing that out there. But yeah, what is the point of these purges? Is it because the way things are going right now? Now, what if you agree with what the U.S. did with capturing Nicolas Maduro in Venezuela, and what if you agree with the U.S. bombardments of Iran and so forth, and President Trump talking about taking Cuba and so forth, which technically would be better off politically, which I'll probably get to maybe in another video, because I'll be mainly talking about the embargo, which I have talked about before, but probably need to talk about it again, because it seems like some hardliners don't seem to get it. And when I mean hardliners, I mean people that just seem to think that the way Cuba is, like some communists or leftists or tankies or whatever who just think the only reason why Cuba is the way it is because the United States embargo, which actually started before Castro took over. It actually started under Batista because the U.S. kind of became, distant from Batista, and there was the embargo. So there's been embargoes on Cuba for quite a long time, and not only that, and I'm not getting off topic, I'll just go ahead and talk about it, but what about the fact that Cuba can trade with like 42 countries, if not more, and they can not just trade with other countries, they can trade with they don't just trade with places like North Korea and whatnot, or other communist countries and whatnot. No, they trade with even like countries in Europe and so forth, like Italy and the UK and so forth. I think that they even trade with Mexico and so forth. So there are like 40 plus countries and they still are the way they are. No, you can't blame the United States for that. That's an embargo from one country, and it didn't stop all these other countries from wanting to trade with Cuba. But yeah, I know it sounds like it's getting off topic, but yeah, I just want to go back to these purges within the People's Liberation Army. I know there's been many types of purges by Xi Jinping over the years, as the predecessor, and so on and so on. I mean, it goes back to the days of Mao, but the talks of them wanting to take Taiwan in 2027, which is next year, and the current purges of right now, could there be a potential of repeating history if there were to be an invasion of Taiwan? I don't know. I just thought it was something worth talking about, even though I didn't intend to talk about it for this long and I sort of got off topic. But yeah, I wanted to try to do a video about it because I figured it was worth talking about, or at least worth mentioning, because, well, I mean, hopefully an invasion of Taiwan doesn't occur, and whatever the purges going on in the People's Liberation Army, I can't say, or any other purges going on within China by the Communist Party, because well, I don't know. I mean, I can bring up a couple of ideas, like maybe Xi Jinping sees some of these people as a threat and had to get rid of them, within the party, as many Communist Party's leaders have done. Even that's what Hitler done in the Night of the Long Knives, where the SS took over as having main power, and the SA was, although was not taken out or defunded, but they got reduced to where they didn't have as much power as the SS. But not to get off topic again, I'm just using that as an example. I'm just bringing up the purges now and curious if that may have something to do with a potential invasion of Taiwan next year. Which, yeah, granted, hopefully it doesn't. Some people may think I'm crazy or idiotic for making a video like this, and you could be right, because some people may be saying, soul drift, they say they're going to do that all the time. What's the point? That it's crazy to make videos like this. I know, but I just thought it was worth talking about, worth mentioning, because when I was looking at some of the articles about the purges today, or recently, the last few weeks or few months, the Winter War for some reason popped into my head, and how that went down, the purges that occurred in the Red Army before. But I don't know. What do you think is the main cause for the purges in the People's Liberation Army of today? And will there be a communist invasion of Taiwan next year in 2027? I don't know. I hope not. But if you got any takes, please do tell. And yeah, the comments are open, and yeah, that's all I'm going to say for right now. This is Soldier 7. Thanks for listening.